Awesome. Thank you so much. Hi, guys. Like she said, my name is Jessica Teslowitz. I am a financial educator with Tinker Federal Credit Union. I get to do this job, and I'm super grateful that I get to be here with you guys today. I get to talk to people all over the state of Oklahoma, and I was even in Texas for a little bit yesterday. So of all the places I could be, I'm grateful it's with you guys this afternoon. Thank you so much for showing up. Sometimes just knowing your resources and knowing there's people who are willing to help and support you in crazy, unheard of times is a good, optimist boost. So hopefully we can talk through some maybe otherwise kind of difficult topics today, and then you can come away with this maybe with some resources that you didn't know of before, or maybe just a little bit of optimism that we're all in this together and you are truly not alone. So we are going to give you several tools and resources to use during the shutdown, but keep in mind that this could be during other times of life as well, right? We are in very unheard of times right now, but there could be something that happens like this that's very similar, and we just want to be able to better prepare ourselves for the future while we're navigating the now as well. So as far as, I used to be a teacher before this for a long time, so that paper you have is just like note-taking. It's just a worksheet. I cannot show up to a workshop and not have like a worksheet of something of some sort. So there's some area on the back for you to just take general notes. Some of this information at the end that our community partners share with you guys will have a lot of beneficial information. Feel free to take pictures of any of that information so you don't have to write it all down. All right, so as far as we begin with just talking about money and some ways that we can make our money potentially go further than it truly is right now, or just getting through these unheard of times, is truly just beginning to plan our spending. So right now, when times are tough and money is not there, or maybe it's just the expectation that we're not sure when it's going to come back at a normal rate, we just truly need to begin figuring out all of our income sources. And maybe for you, you're like, lady, have you not heard? Right now, I don't have a lot of it. I get it, okay? I borrow my title of financial educator, but I own my character. I'm a spender. I'm not always great at making the best financial plan, which is crazy because I'm telling you guys about money, but it's because I've had to learn the hard way, right? So do not let me say anything to you guys today that you're like, if you only knew. Because trust me, my financial situation has, we all have room for growth. And really, truly, it all does begin with just kind of back to the basics of budgeting. Start figuring out, what money do I have coming in right now, right? What money do I have to work with right now? Even if it's not much, or even if it seems like there's truly nothing at all for me to work with, we'll have some resources of ways we could kind of maybe bridge the gap from right now until we can kind of take a deep breath and move forward from all of this. Maybe it's anything you have remaining from previous paychecks, side gigs. We'll talk about some of those opportunities. Unemployment benefits, if you have access to those, or truly even emergency savings, right? Because this is a time of emergency for many of us. So I know we're supposed to leave our money in our savings accounts and not touch into it, but truly, if right now this is an emergency for you, that's what we've built up those emergency savings for, if you have access to that. Maybe it's just moving around money and putting money into more essentials that are going to get through this period, versus things that we've kind of discretionary spent on in the past. So maybe just starting to figure out, like, what are the essentials, right? Back to basics. What are the things I have to survive during this time? What are the things that would be nice to have when I kind of get back on my feet and when times get back to kind of normalcy? Tracking our spending. This one is going to take us time to sit down and do, right? None of this is going to be like, let's do this in 5 minutes and a magic wand will work. And like, if I had an easy button, guess what? I'd bring one for everybody. But it's truly just sitting down and figuring out what are all my sources of income and then listing all expenses. And when we look at the outcome of that, do I have a deficit? If I have a deficit right now, I've got to figure out a way that I can cut back on that spending so that I can live within my means and not break the number one rule of personal finance, which is living within our means and not spending more than we make. So if we've got too much going out, we've got to figure out ways we can cut back on our spending. Maybe it's that you sit down with your income and the expenses you have right now are fitting within your income, right? Like, I've got a little bit of a surplus, or I'm just about breaking even. Good. We still probably could find some areas where we could cut back spending. And maybe you're like, we're already down to the bare necessities of things. Maybe it's beginning to use what we have a little bit more wisely, right? Like, maybe it's just even utilities. Like, we're going to cut back on utilities. I'm the light police in my house because growing up, my mom would take me for ice cream if the light bill was lower than the previous month. So now, during these times, I'm like, have you not seen the electric bill? And I'm like turning lights off in the middle of like the house while people are actually actively using them. But just getting smart about using less, just making it through this time, like I said, until we can kind of take a big deep breath and move on. Pausing or reducing discretionary spending. I'm a big spender, but I know there are times when I'm like, we have got to stop, right? There are times when I know, like right now, that it is tough. And if I can just cut back on a little of that discretionary spending, maybe I can put that money towards essentials and things I need during this moment. How many of you guys have heard of the 50-30-20 budgeting rule? Have you guys heard of that? Okay. 50-30-20 budgeting rule is when we are supposed to apply 50% of our income towards things that we need. Okay, so I have this much money, however much money this is. It's easier to use my hands than it is to use numbers. I have this much money, 50% of it, half of it is supposed to go towards the things that I need. 30% of it gets to go towards the things I want but could live without. And then 20%, the remainder goes towards, paying down debt, adding towards my savings. Now, I think that sounds great, but maybe right now it is not within your luxury to be able to meet that 50-30-20 rule, right? And I see a couple of you who are like, now you're catching on. That doesn't sound like it's going to work for me. So I'm going to tell you right now to do what you can to make the budgeting kind of pie chart to look like it's going to work for you. Because oftentimes during unheard of times that we're living through, 50-30-20 is ideal, but it's not realistic for some of us. So I would say if you are trying to figure out how to make a budget work, make it work for you. And we're going to change it to the 5-90-5 rule. Don't tell Dave Ramsey because I'm sure he's like, that's not how it works. But not all of us have Dave Ramsey pockets, right? So make it work for you in this time. We're going to take 5% of what we have and we're going to set that aside towards savings. Notice that I put the 5% first because right now it's really hard to set aside money for savings when what I have is barely making it for the things I need. So if you can set aside 5% of what you have towards savings, 90% then goes towards meeting your needs because now we need more of what we have to meet what we need to pay for. And the remaining 5% works for things you want, being able to live a little, being able to just, survive and maybe not thrive to your fullest during this time, but give yourself a little bit of grace and leeway in your finances. And maybe for you right now, it's like, I'm more like 95, 2.5, 2.5. That's okay? Make it work for you. And then as we begin to get back to a sense of normalcy or get into our new normal beyond this, maybe you take that and you change it to an 80, 10, 10, right? And then maybe it's a 70, 15, 15 until we can get back to being able to contribute a little bit more towards savings, a little more towards discretionary spending, but still providing for the things that we need. So feel free to make your pie chart look however you feel it needs to. When money is scarce, aka like now, right? What we're going through. Long-term thinking guides short-term decisions. Right now, the sense of urgency is real. Maybe there's a little bit of panic. Maybe there's a little bit of fear. A lot of emotions are tied to our finances. And when our finances are looking troublesome, it begins to cause a lot of other issues in our lives as well. Try and avoid panic purchases and high interest loans, right? Signing up for something that is going to put a Band-Aid over right now, but give you a big bruise later. We want to be able to figure out how we're going to make it through with as little impact for our later selves as possible. I always call it later Jessica. Today, Jessica's decisions, later Jessica has to deal with, right? Those are the things that I'm going to have to deal with the bill later on. Those are the things that I'm going to have to worry about the payments and the repercussions of. So just figure out what you're doing right now. Is that helping us in this moment and it's not going to hurt us in the future? Or is it something that's going to feel, like it's kind of a Band-Aid for right now, but it could bring a lot of burden later on? Borrowing money does delay consequences and it could potentially just increase the cost of what you're borrowing because of interest paid over time. Call creditors early. If you are in a situation where you're like, I am not going to be able to make that next payment, that's okay. A lot of people are feeling this right now. Contacting your creditors, right? Now, they are part of a business and they are part of an entity that is making a profit off of your payment. So their answer can be less than, yes, of course, we'll allow you this. Their answer could be no, but their answer could be no. But you'll never know if you don't ask, right? Contacting creditors and saying, I am unable during this time of hardship to make this payment. What kind of things can you offer? What kind of payment plans are you willing to set up with me? Asking and seeing what you can get out of them before just being avoidant, like I feel like I very much am a lot of times. We don't want to avoid it. It just gets worse when we do so. Try and face some of these issues head on, even though it's not always easy to ask for help. Use free resources first. We have several free resources that I'll have some of my colleagues explain for you guys at the end of this. But one of them that is just kind of a broad free resource is contacting 211. So you can dial 211 or you can go to 211.org. They're both free resources, ways to access this free resource. And then let's say you're having an issue making your utility bill payment this month. Like, I'm not going to be able to pay it. My electric is going to get shut off. They can set you up with programs that are willing to help you with utility payment assistance. Maybe it's that, food is scarce right now, and it is for many people. They can help you contact, reputable organizations who can help you with some of these times, some of these things that are really hard during these times. Like I said, utility providers, payment extensions, hardship programs. Before we're just like, oh, I can't pay it. I guess I'll face the consequence. Maybe we contact somebody and just see what they can do if there is something at our disposal. And then exploring local food banks and pantries. We have several great community partners here with us today in the hallway. If you haven't gotten the opportunity to speak with them, some of them are, with some of these resources that I'm naming. Just know that you have a lot of resources at your disposal. There's a lot of people who are tapping into these right now because there's many of us going through this together. But just be aware that there are people who are willing to help. And like I said, seeing this many people in a room who are looking for resources and who are willing to provide support, it just kind of gives me a little bit of optimism that you're not alone. You're not the only person asking for this. Increasing income. Whenever I talk to high school students about this, I'm like, we're going to legally increase our income, right? We're going to find legal ways to increase our income. It's truly only limited by your imagination. I bet there are some things that y'all are so good at that I'm awful at. How many of you guys are good at cooking? I told you. There's people out there that are good at something that I'm awful at. Nobody wants to eat what I cook because we'll all get sick. There could be things that you're really, really great at that you haven't had to tap into in a long time, right? Maybe during this time of my life, I'm not necessarily a teacher in the classroom anymore. But guess what? Whenever tutoring, I see ads for tutoring programs. I'm like, hey, I could do that. Like, I could tutor some students, right? It's not something that I necessarily think about often, but I know that there's things I could tap into to begin to grow the amount of money I have coming in during a hard time. Maybe it's gig work like Uber, DoorDash, Instacart, Rover, dog sitting. I pay a dog sitter. They make good money. So just be aware that there are opportunities. Know what your limitations are. If you are, able to take on another side job right now, kind of know your limitations, but also know, like, during this time of uncertainty, this could be money that you are tapping into that could help you extend what you have a little bit further. Freelance, as far as writing, design, tutoring, virtual assistants, lots of things that you can sign up for to do freelance work. Selling items online. Now, keep in mind, Facebook Marketplace will drive you crazy, and it's a one-time thing, right? People are going to be contacting you and you're going to get, is this still available all day long? Is this still available? But just know that when you are able to sell some of the things maybe you're currently not using, it's a little bit of money you have coming in, and we're going to make it last as long as possible. Services, as far as lawn care, babysitting, handyman work, or otherwise. And then, like I said, maybe it's teaching or tutoring, even online or in person. So start thinking about the things that you could put into place and make money from legally if you needed to do so. Okay, so this is where I told you money saving strategies. And again, I don't want to come from a place of we barely have enough to get by in this moment, so let's save some of it, because that feels like a luxury at many times in our lives that many of us don't have. I totally understand that. When I'm getting bills in the mail and I'm worried about a collections account that's about to happen, and I'm worried about creditors contacting me, and you're telling me to save money right now. I have to have every dollar that I have coming my way to pay for something, and that's okay. If you have the ability to do so right now, think about it's just the amount that you're able to do is good enough for right now. Because truly in this time, we're not trying to build wealth today. We're just trying to give ourselves a little bit of breathing room, again, to get us through to our new normal or back to our sense of normal after this is over. Try and set aside any portion of money coming in so that, you're still building a little bit, especially if we're tapping into a lot of these savings right now. Open a savings account, try and let that money sit and stay to the side. But let's be a little bit more realistic here. If saving right now is not something that you are able to do, let's find ways to spend less, which is also going to simultaneously help us save money. So maybe it's just using free resources instead of spending money on opportunities, spending money on experiences, spending money on all the things we have to spend money on. Maybe it's finding ways to tap into things that are free So I may not be contributing the same amount of money I've always contributed to my savings account right now, but I'm spending less and doing things that are free to get me by during this time. Check out your local library. They have awesome free resources. There's something called an adventure pass. Have you guys heard of adventure passes from the library? I hadn't either, and somebody last week told me even a little bit more about it. You can check out adventure passes from the library for free. It's just like a book. You have to wait till it's available. But the adventure passes at both of our major local library systems will let you check out an adventure pass. Typically, it's for 4 to 6 people, and it is the cost of admission into all the kinds of places you probably might want to go in Oklahoma City metro area. It's museums, it's the zoo, it's all kinds of events. So that could be something that, you know what, we don't have the money for that experience right now, but we can check out an adventure pass and we get to go do this thing on, the library's adventure pass instead of spending money on it. Maybe it's that you're doing clothing swaps or looking up groups called Buy Nothing groups. These are groups typically created within neighborhoods or small communities where people are willing to trade or exchange goods and services right now, while we may not have discretionary income to cover those costs otherwise. All right. Borrowing without income. So right now, if you are not bringing in a consistent source of income, or maybe the income is just not steady enough for you to feel like you're able to depend on it, or it's just inconsistent, or like I said, non-existent, credit cards can feel like a lifeline right now because it's something I have and I know I'll have to pay it back later. And I know, again, it's getting me through today, but it's giving me a little bit of hardship for later. Be aware, if you are going to use a credit card or if you are going to borrow money during this time, it could be a short-term fix, but make sure, again, it's not a long-term burden for you. We want to be aware of these things. Ask yourself what the true cost is of borrowing money on this. What's the interest rate? What's the term? What kind of things am I going to need to read the small print on to make sure that I know that what I'm signing up for is actually something that's going to help me get through and not something I'm going to have to overcome later on and make things worse. So the true cost, like I said, terms, is it helping me breathe through this time, or is it just adding more pressure on my later financial situation? There are other alternatives to, borrowing money. Maybe it's that we tap into community resources that we've never tapped into before. Maybe you're meeting people in this time of life that you never thought you'd be having conversations with, and that's okay. We use these community resources, and it's a sign of strength to ask for help during these times, right? So just make sure we're tapping into those creative income ideas like the gig work and the kind of things I just reminded you guys of. And maybe even just support programs just like this, where we're figuring out there are other people who are going through these same things. And sometimes it's the most unexpected person that's willing to help. It's the most unexpected person who's willing to offer their good or service. But thank goodness they did. I use it. I move forward, and then we get through this together. So just be aware of what you're borrowing and kind of what that could do once your income is back. Make sure that we know how we're going to pay these back. Make sure that we have a plan in place to set ourselves up for, not a big burden in the future. All right, so the mind and money. I know this is a very mentally difficult time. If our finances are not doing well, oftentimes that taps into our physical, emotional, mental health as well. It's really hard to think long-term when today feels urgent. I totally understand that. It's really hard to hear somebody say, make sure you're saving money when I'm barely getting by. It's really hard to hear somebody say, don't borrow in bad terms when I don't have another option. I totally understand that. Just be aware that we want to just kind of sit and pause for a second with what choices we have. If you only feel like you have one choice, let's look a little bit further and see if there's any other options. And we're going to give you guys so many options today, hopefully some of which will give you a little bit of less pressure and maybe a little bit more breathing space to get through this time. So we want to sit with it for a second. What are my options? What am I about to choose to sign up for? What are the, small fine prints that I need to know about going forward so that all of this shutdown stress doesn't lead me to costly decisions later on? Brainstorm before borrowing. This is what I mean by kind of like sitting and reflecting. Do I need this thing and it's very urgent and I've got to have some assistance for it? What am I willing to sign up for to get the assistance for that? Are there free options? Are there lower cost options? Are there options that, yes, are going to cost me money, but are they less than some of the other options I've looked into? Truly just trying to find the best option and then kind of reflecting on what your situation is now and realizing it won't be like this forever, right? The good times and the bad times change. It won't be like this forever. But understanding that what I'm doing to get through right now is going to get me to where I need to be, within the coming weeks, months, whatever it's going to take. And then reframe your mindset around it. Again, this is not about being your best financial self right now. Maybe this is not when you measure your net worth and you're like, let's go. I've got a really high net worth right now. Maybe you're looking at your cash flow and you're like, my cash flow is all over the place. I'm spending more than I'm making and I'm stressed. And my credit, I'm worried about my credit being damaged during all of this. I get it, right? This is not our time to be our best, maybe like most outstanding financial self without help. We can help you guys. TFCU can help you guys. So many of our community resources can help you guys. But maybe right now it's just this temporary moment of us just not getting too deep into some of these financial commitments and being able to walk out of it with some grace and dignity and being able to move on from it. Don't let fear and procrastination cost you money. This has been a very personal story of mine. Collections accounts, a couple of them after a really, really, really bad accident with 7 surgeries and no medical insurance within 1 year. So when I say your financial situation is not beyond repair, because I too have been there, I mean it, right? Fear and procrastination were both of my middle names, and impatient was the other one. Like I'm very fearful when it comes to talking about my personal financial situation because it's not easy. It's not easy to call somebody and be like, I messed up and I owe you a lot of money. Like, what can I do? I can give you this amount. Well, that's not enough. Well, that's all I can do. And it just seems like, why am I even trying, right? I'm digging a hole and I'm taking like 10 steps back every time I try. And then it leaves me stressed and even more fearful and emotional about the financial future. But try and speak with some of the people we're going to give you resources for. They can help talk to you and guide you through some of those conversations with people who might otherwise feel intimidating or who might otherwise feel like somebody that I really don't necessarily want to talk to. Maybe this is contacting a creditor with you, sitting down and saying, okay, let's contact a creditor together and see what we can do to get a payment plan set up before we just avoid it and miss a payment. Or maybe let's contact some of these collections agencies and see what we can do to get this removed or what we can do to avoid our credit being damaged during this time. We have some great people who are willing to do those things, but again, it's just going to take you asking and trusting that they will walk alongside you. Ask for help early. Like I said, even if it's painful, sometimes the longer we wait, the more consequential it becomes, and then the more expensive it becomes. And just remember, after all of this, you're not alone. Again, looking around the room, it brings joy to my heart to know that there are people who have stepped up today to ask for help, who are willing to take information and move forward better from it. So just be aware you're not in this alone. TFCU is in this with you. We're all still humans at the end of the day. You've got a lot of people here, community, financial, food, all kinds of resources and otherwise that are willing to help you out. So as we go through this, I'm going to just kind of give an overview of some of the things that we, just as far as TFCU and some of our local partnerships can provide. And then I actually am going to introduce people individually to come up and give you a little bit more in detail about some of the resources that they can offer. So as far as talking to someone who gets it, I keep saying like, sit down and talk to somebody. And I don't want to sit down and talk to somebody. I think that is a great first step, right? Like, it might be a little uncomfortable, but I'm going to sit down and talk to somebody because if they are a financial professional and the resource is free, what can it hurt, right? So we've got a group called our Member Solutions Team. When you talk to one of our Member Solutions team members who are here, and we'll come up in just a second, you get free, judgment-free financial advice. They are certified financial counselors, and they can sit with you and guide you through even some of the weirdest, maybe budgeting topics that you've never thought you'd have to sit down through. Like, let's budget for a shutdown. Let's budget with the money I have left and not knowing when my next paycheck may come through, right? They can sit down and just budget maybe for 2 weeks. And then we're going to revisit in 2 weeks. And then maybe when all of this is over with, we revisit our budget and make it look like it's going to work for what our normal used to look like. Maybe it's that you're like, I'm afraid my credit's being damaged during this time. Sit down with our Member Solutions team and talk with them and try and get a plan that's going to kind of help you stay steady instead of going through the ups and downs of all of this. We have our hardship relief program right now that offers skip a payment options, interest-only plans, and fee refunds to try and kind of ease some of the pressure that I know many of us are facing right now. And again, we'll have a professional speak with you guys on that. Maybe it's our 0% interest loan right now that we're offering that government employees whose payroll has been affected, which I know it is many, can borrow up to the amount of their last payroll deposit for a maximum of 3 pay periods, excluding the partial payday on October 10th. Just know that the loan amounts are going to vary depending on each member's circumstance, but it's a great opportunity to sit down with somebody and see if you qualify for some of these things and see if it could ease a little bit of the pressure you may be facing right now. And then leaning on our community partners. Again, we have so many people who are here today to help you out. Like I said, maybe it's food, finances, otherwise, utility assistance, all of our financial partner or community partners that can help you out during these otherwise uncertain times. All right, so do I talk really fast? Somebody told me yesterday I talk really fast. I was like, oh, I've never heard that. Yes, I know I talk really fast. I just feel like I have so much to say, and I'm just like really excited looking at all of the people's faces here who are actually here with me. So I appreciate you guys again. The first group I'm going to introduce, I'm actually going to introduce one of our Member Solutions financial counselors that I told you guys about. So this is the person that you can sit down with face to face. Jesus Rendon is one of our Member Solutions counselors. He is one of 4 on the team. So yes.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. So my name is Jesus. I'm with the Member Solutions, and I'm one of the consultants here. I also have Dakota with me joining today in the back. So I'm here to talk about Member Solutions and what we offer. So Member Solutions is a completely free program to all of our members and non-members as well that we coach in like financial literacy. So during this time, if you're needing help with building a budget to stay afloat with things, we can help you with that. If you need help with your credit repair or even understanding your credit, we can help you with that as well. It is not limited to one session. So as Jessica mentioned, we can do multiple sessions as needed. I have members that I've worked with, the past 3 months, and we check in on a regular monthly basis. What else? Along with those other services, we do offer general education, whether it can be like car buying, home ownership, even concerns that you may have, whether it's like identifying fraud, identifying scams, things of that nature. The one topic that we don't really cover is investments. So that we don't really get into. How to reach us. So there are 3 different ways you can reach us. I know in the bags, there is a brochure. On the brochure, it does have our phone number for our department. It also has the email for our department, and it also has a QR code. If you scan the QR code, it'll take you to our landing page. On there, you will see the information for each of the consultants. So it'll have a short bio of who we are, a little bit of ourselves. And if you want to go on there, read through our bios and work with a specific consultant, you can reach them. It'll have their direct email and their direct phone number as well. Once you reach out to us, we can schedule a meeting either by phone, in person, or even virtual. So that's an option now as well too. If you don't want to drive to us or to a branch, we can do that as well. Our hours are Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. On Saturdays, we do work from 8 to noon. The only thing with Saturdays is we can't really schedule an in-person appointment on those days. So those would have to be during the week. Any questions for me at the moment? No. All right. Well, thank you for your time, and I'll hand it back to Jessica.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I know that they offer amazing advice. I think I'm going to take them up on it as well. All right. So up next, I have the pleasure of introducing Kelsey Kendall, who is the Lending Services Processing Manager. Kelsey Kendall.
Here I am. Hi, everybody. Good to see you all this afternoon. Even though it's maybe not the best circumstances for all of us, we are happy to have you. Like Jessica said, my name is Kelsey. I am one of the managers in the lending department. Been with the credit union almost 10 years now. So we've seen some hardships. And right now we are facing one. But the good news is we have a program designed to help all of our members out during this time. So a little bit about that. We're offering various products. So if you are someone that has an existing loan with us and are having trouble not receiving payroll, we understand. So some options you have for that are fee-free skip-a payments and interest-only payments. So those are super important. You're just trying to pay bills. Holidays are coming. We know. If you are receiving overdraft fees right now, that's a big topic too. We are offering refunds on those. So for those 2 options, please call us. Be prepared to have your personalized furlough notice or mission critical letter on your letterhead. If you've already kind of gone through one round with us, be prepared to bring that again just so we can verify it time to time as this goes on. We are also offering 0% loans. So what this looks like is a max of 3 pay periods. So not the partial one that was first received, but we're maxing that out at 3 pay periods and are continuing to monitor this as it goes on. What we need to verify that is, again, your furlough notice. We also need to see your direct deposit of the last full pay period if you're banking somewhere else than TFCU. Why? Just kidding. We want to see your last bank statement or ACH deposit that was the full amount so we can verify. And then now that we know pay periods have been missed, some transaction histories. So that is what we need. This is a full credit pool and an underwriting process. We just got to do our checks and balances on that. And this is for new and existing members. So that's kind of the guidelines on that. Does anyone have questions on that? I know it's been a big topic. If you've received one from us already, we've already kind of gone through first and second rounds of refinancing those, and we'll continue to monitor as the situation goes on. So what questions do we have as far as that goes? Yeah.
Look into this. Do we go to the main branch or?
So you can go to any local branch. Just make sure, like I said, that you have your furlough notice, bank statement if needed. We're available 8 to 6 on our contact center if you want to call into the lending department. That's where we work. So we're happy to help you. You don't have to go into a branch. 9 to 5 branch hours, 9 to noon on Saturday for in-person, 8 to noon over the phone. So options there. You could also do an online app. You'll have to talk to someone, kind of explain, I'm calling about the furlough, not just a general loan inquiry. So great question.
Just a little confused. I'm just wanting to know. So let's say I come in, want to get the loan that you said was a credit check. Am I correct? What happens in the instance when your credit, we're already in a hardship, right? Right. So what happens?
Great question. Of course, we're going to work with you as best we can. If there's some things that you've kind of brought into the situation that were, previously unsavory things, we'll ask about those for sure. If there's medical collections, student debts, things like that, we will do our due diligence and go above and beyond to try and get you approved if we can, get some explanation on some things and kind of see how we got to this position. That's our general lending policy regardless. We want to help as much as we can. So yes, we're aware that people are obviously went into this hardship with other previous hardships just from life because that's how it happens. So, it's not guaranteed approval, but we will go above and beyond to try and make things happen during this time. Great question. Any more? All right. Well, thank you all. And thank you for being here today.
All right, great questions. Definitely feel free to keep asking questions because I'm sure if you have it, somebody else does as well. Awesome questions you guys have. All right, so as far as community partners, I now have the honor to introduce one of our community partners. The executive director for Selfless Hands is Raven Crisp. Hi, Raven.
Yeah. Hey, y'all. So yes, my name is Raven Crisp. I'm with Selfless Hands Foundation. We were established February 16, 2018. I pretty much started this just out of passion for helping people out within emergency crisis and disaster. I was in college. My first project was in Baton Rouge. There was a huge flood that happened, and I just wanted to give back and help. And once I got there, I was like, oh my gosh, it was mind-blowing to me being, 19, 20 years old, realizing you could have everything today and it'll be gone tomorrow. Did the same thing for Hurricane Harvey in Houston. And I thought, man, well, okay, if I'm doing this, everywhere else, I need to do this when I come back home. So I came back home, Northeast Oklahoma City, started giving back with families that were affected by house fires, tornadoes, floods, what else? Homelessness, domestic violence. Realized that the best thing for me to do is start a nonprofit. So started a nonprofit, figured I was being selfless, hands-on, Selfless Hands Foundation, nothing really too fancy with the name. We have transformed from being a mobile donation center to now helping out with rent, utility assistance. If we have the funding, of course, we are still kind of small. What else do? We address food insecurity in Northeast Oklahoma City, in surrounding areas as well. But Northeast Oklahoma City is known to be a food desert, so that's pretty much my priority. We have blessing boxes. Well, I'm kind of short, but this tall, this wide. And pretty much you can just donate what you can, take what you need, 24 hours. So just stopped it on Saturday, actually. Canned food, non-perishables. During the summertime, people actually donate a lot of baby items. Like, it went from food to now hygiene products, clothes. I've even seen a crib outside of it, good condition. Let's see what else. We have our back to school bash. We just had our 7th annual trunk or treat. Pretty much started that, just trying to get back to kids in the neighborhood. Started off with 50 kids to now 1,500. So we grew pretty fast. So we do that. I think that's pretty much it right now. My brain's kind of we're here to help. I'm also furloughed, so I get it. It sucks. Hopefully we get back to work like ASAP. We need our money. So however I can help you guys, please let me know. Our website is pretty good, selflesshandsfoundation.org.com. I bought all the domains, so you'll find us. If you're on Facebook, we're pretty active on Facebook. Just hit us up. Thank you. Oh, any questions? Anybody have any questions? No? Okay, cool. All right. Thank you.
I love that. Take what you need and donate what you can, right? Different times of life. Maybe you're the donate, the take. Just feel free. I think that's awesome. I love that she said that. All right. So up next, we have the executive director for Project 66, which is Neil Tate. Hi, Neil. Yes.
Hi, everybody. My name is Neil. I'm the director at Project 66. We're a food and resource center. We serve northern Oklahoma County and some of southern Logan County. So there's tons of food pantries all over the metro area. I would just encourage you to take a look, find one that's near you. So we're in Edmond. We serve all of Edmond, Luther, Guthrie, Jones, Arcadia. But we also serve people who come in and need something if it's an emergency, or you didn't realize we're out of your zip code area. Go ahead and come. You can come once. Anybody can come see us at least one time. We're happy to help you find other pantries in your area. I'll be out in the hallway. I'd also be happy to help you find something in your area. And I know Caitlin would be too with the Regional Food Bank. So please reach out to us. We definitely want to be a resource. And Jessica had a great point of if there are things you can control, like your food expenses, to help you pay things that you can't control, like your mortgage and your rent and all those types of things. We want to be there for you. People call us all the time and say, I need help with rent. And we have to say, I'm sorry, we only do food. Like, that's our focus. And I think we do food really well. We have a shopping room full of food. Clients come choose the food that they want for their family. It's set up like a grocery store. So we tell them, I'm sorry, we don't do rent, we do food. And then they say, well, I don't need food, and hang up. Like, well, it sounds like you probably do need food. So I would just encourage you to think of it that way of don't feel ashamed or embarrassed to go get the help that you need. We have had a huge influx of new clients lately, and it's people who have never been to a food pantry before, never thought they'd need to go to a food pantry. But they're coming in, and I'm really proud of them for that. They're doing what they need to do to take care of their families. So there's no shame in it. We're volunteer run. I think they're very friendly people. We shake your hand. We ask for your name. We don't call you by a number. We call you by your name, and we shop with you. We load your groceries in your car for you, and we help you find other resources that you might need. So you're welcome to come see us. Like I said, we're up in Edmond on Kelly Avenue, 2612 South Kelly. And our website's project66.org. Our zip code service area is on there. A couple things you need to bring with you on your first visit if you're in our area or on there. And you'll, like I said, feel free to give us a call. Stop by my table. I'm happy to help you find pantries that are in your area. Caitlin as well, and we can also help you find what are some of the larger ones versus the smaller ones. and things like that. So just please feel comfortable going to get resources like that. We definitely want to be here to help, even if it's not something that you would normally need to do. I'll also mention there's a lot of people who come in and say, hey, I just need this temporarily. Can I come back and volunteer? Can I make a donation when I get back on my feet? Absolutely. That's a great way to think about it. So come get the help while you need it, and then you can give back later. Okay? Questions for me? All right. Thanks, everybody.
Yeah. Thank you so much. All right. Up next, another community partner is the Community Connections Manager of the Regional Food Bank of Oklahoma, which is Caitlin Gleason Dockery. Hi, Caitlin.
Well, thank you all, and thanks for having me tonight. I honestly could just say ditto because two of our partner agencies just spoke and did it so well. But the Regional Food Bank, we've been around since 1980. So 45 years, like any good startup, happened out of a garage and now has grown into this massive warehouse. We're kind of the hub of food, and we operate through a partner network through 53 counties here in Oklahoma that we serve. So we probably, wherever you live, we probably have someone near you that could be of assistance. And as Neil said, you can go to our website. I've got some flyers out there on the table. You're welcome to grab a few. It's got a QR code on it. You put in your zip code or your town, city, whatever, county. It'll pull up everybody within so many mile radius of us, and their hours, what days they're open, what services they offer. If you need to call ahead and find out what you need to bring with you, all those good things, all that information will be there for you. And like Neil said as well, if you're looking for volunteer opportunities, same thing. Go there. See who's close to you or in your community that you want to give back with. Or if you've got family, maybe you live here in Oklahoma City, but you have family that are out in Kanawha or Yukon or somewhere else, you can find resources for them as well. So they did such a great job. I don't feel like I have too much else to say, but does anybody have any questions about food resources or getting connected or anything like that? I will also mention if you're in a pinch and you can't find some of the pantries near you aren't open that particular day, come on up to the Regional Food Bank. We're going to give you a shelf-stable box to get you by, and then we'll help connect you with some other places too. So, okay. I'm going to keep it short and sweet.
It's okay. It's great information. Thank you. All right. And then last of our community partners, but not least, the Executive Assistant of the Infant Crisis Center is Tim Britton. Yeah.
Hello, thank you. I'm Tim. I'm with Infant Crisis Services. We are a organization that provides food, formula, and diapers to infants and toddlers up until their 4th birthday. We've been doing that for 41 years now here in Oklahoma City, so very long established organization. We've helped over 400,000 babies in that amount of time. We offer same-day appointments. If you go to our website, there's a big button that says Get Help. That has the number and our location hours. You can call up and set an appointment, or if you can't, you can just come in. Our location is just a couple blocks west of here at 42nd and Lincoln. We also have 2, and hopefully more soon, baby mobiles, which are our mobile units that travel all across Oklahoma. We're in 31 different counties now, from Texas all the way up to Kansas. So if you or anyone you know has an infant or a toddler up until their 4th birthday, we're happy to provide them with food, formula, and or diapers. Typically, we serve our clients, which are the babies, up to 4 times per calendar year. Because we're in a bit of a difficult time in the world right now, we've decided to lift that number for the rest of the calendar year. So if you need services more often, as long as they're a week apart, because we provide a week's worth of those services, you're welcome to come in as many weeks as are left in the calendar year. Okay. Any questions? All right. Thank you.
All right, we'd like to thank you all for coming out this evening. Thank you for sharing your time with us. We know you're going through a difficult time, and we hope some of these resources we were able to provide today will be helpful for you moving forward. So have a good evening.